I'm Edward Warfield. I'm the publisher of Citybiz. I'm honored today to interview the co-founder and CEO of Alphaa, Manuela Seve. Welcome, Manuela.
Thank you so much, Edward. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you share your career, your entrepreneurial journey, and the role of your co-founder, Renata Tom?
Sure. I actually started my career in finance. I was an equity analyst at one of Brazil's biggest hedge funds. And I was reading Mark Rich's biography, King of Oil, and looking at the oil market in the 60s and how the art market was organized. There were just so many similarities that I knew something had to be done to just bring more transparency into this market. During that time, I met with my co-founder, Renata, and we started talking. We're extremely different people, but we had one core goal, which was to make the art market a more democratic place. So we joined forces and ended up launching Alphaa. She was in New York at the time. She moved to Brazil, which was supposed to be for a short period of time. We ended up staying for 2 years, and we couldn't have done it without each other, that's for sure.
So Alphaa is described as the world's largest art collective. Can you provide a description of how that was built?
Sure. So Alphaa is a B2B marketplace, and essentially what we do is we connect companies to the visual arts. The first thing we built was a voting platform because we wanted the platform to be 100% democratic so that any artist could submit a work. We put them through crowdsourcing and select the winners. After that, we continued iterating on the product and eventually pivoted to B2B. Eventually, we started as B2C and started building out the cool stuff that we now have in terms of AI curation, augmented reality that's coming soon. So it's a work in progress, like every tech company.
And so you describe the solution as an inverted marketplace. Can you explain that?
So we are a fully managed marketplace, which basically means that Alphaa actually sets pricing on every product that we sell. And we set pricing based on cost. So we have a markup that we apply on the product, on the production costs. And down the line, once a product is sold, we pay the artists a royalty on sales, which at the end of the day represents much more freedom for us and the artists since we're inventory free and much higher margins.
And can you walk us through the technology and the workflow?
Sure. So, if a designer logs into the Alphaa platform, they can take a very simple questionnaire, which builds their user persona. That user persona populates a collection, which is made specifically for that person automatically through the platform. They can then try out those works in different room views, upload images of their projects, select the specifications, so sizing, framing, and an API will send over those final choices to a supplier as close as possible to that end client, which will then frame, print, and deliver the works ready to hang.
And so is it a SaaS model or is it really a hybrid between a SaaS model and a transactional model?
It's a hybrid. We're transactional in terms of the works that we sell, but we're also building out a subscription model, one for galleries, so that they can use us as a way to list their inventory, come online. This is something that, really came into play now during COVID when, we saw a lot of small, mid-sized galleries and independent artists suffering because they were still heavily reliant on brick and mortar. We're also launching a subscription model on content. All of our works, they connect back to the platform, which means if this was an Alphaa print, it would have a QR code next to it. You'd be walking by, you'd be able to scan it, learn more about the artist, see video content of that artist talking about his connection to that property, to that neighborhood, and eventually even purchase your physical pieces.
And so how many artists are part of Alphaa, and really what role do the galleries play?
We're close to 10,000 artists. I can't give you an exact number. There's been a lot of artist growth during the past couple of months. The galleries were completely complementary to what they do since we specialize in limited edition prints. A lot of the galleries don't have production and are not interested in having production of prints. So they can come to us and use our supply chain to get those artists out there, create a new product roster. And as we mentioned, we are launching this Black Label series for higher quality products, so unique pieces, editions that might be handcrafted so that the galleries can have their own space, but at the same time, access our client pool.
And so what role did commercial real estate play in your original vision? Did you pivot to that, or was that part of the original vision?
We started like everyone does as a B2C company. And then we noticed that, to make that B2C company the size that we wanted to, it was going to take forever. So we pivoted when we moved the company in 2017 to New York to B2B. And it took us a while to kind of like identify as a prop tech company. But now Alphaa really does serve the entire spectrum of real estate and prop tech, not just commercial real estate, which is a very important market for us. But we work with traditional hospitality companies such as the Four Seasons and the Rosewood, and massive commercial real estate operators like Lincoln Properties, Beacon. We're also in the multifamily space with companies like Equity Residential and related. And we have white labels with design platforms that connect via our API to their different front ends. And we're launching a partnership this month with HQO and very soon Mobile Doorman. So we're everywhere.
So can you tell us about your recent project with Four Seasons?
Sure. So the Four Seasons came to us to find a series of sculptures for the common areas of their new development, the Four Seasons Embarcadero in San Francisco. We presented a group of artists with a strong focus in minorities and artists that were somehow involved in tech, since, it's San Francisco, it's a tech central place. And they ended up selecting a Latin American artist, which is much, much further along in his career. He's been in several museum shows. His works, go for several hundreds of dollars. And we licensed a project with him and created the 3D printed brass sculptures, which are in all of the common areas of the Four Seasons. This project was incredible. It was also a fantastic learning experience for us because it was the first project in that caliber that we ended up taking on and with objects. And it actually led to us getting another massive hospitality project now in Silicon Valley, where they actually want the full breadth of the platform. So there's going to be augmented reality. There's going to be all of the connectivity. They're actually building out a line of prints based on the property artists. So I can't announce the name of the property just yet, but this is going to be a flagship project for us. And it's right there in the Valley.
And can you tell us about your white label solution and provide some sample clients?
Sure. A great example is Zola. They're not necessarily a prop tech company or a design company, but they are a wedding registry. And when people are moving in together, they naturally, they have more space, they have more walls. And this has been a fantastic partnership. What we did for them is we worked with their color palette. And we built out a product selection, which now lives on their front end. So once one of their clients end up purchasing a work, an API shoots over the purchase order directly through our system to our supplier, which then frames, delivers. And, we have that client information as well in perpetuity because they get an email from us connecting themselves back to the platform and their certificate of authenticity if they ever want to trade that work.
Can you give us a little overview of your fundraising, the history, and where you are today?
Sure. We're a very lean company. We're founded by two Latin American women, so I guess we had no choice. We had to build a business before we could actually go out and raise bigger amounts of money. So early on, we had an angel investor that wanted to fund our first full round. At the time, we were raising $500,000, and he said that wasn't enough. He made us take $1 million. We went through extensive due diligence and moved ourselves and the company to New York, the most expensive city in the world. And he ended up having some personal problems and only deployed $200,000 of that million. And we kind of like were forced to bootstrap and build a business and make it work. After that, in 2018, we raised a pre-seed round, and we got some fantastic investors on board. New Age Capital, which is actually Lightspeed's one of Lightspeed's scout programs for minorities like us. Chingona Ventures, EOS, and Block One, which power our blockchain solutions. And during that time, we met with Metaprop and ended up joining their accelerator program. They later became an investor as well. We took that money, we built that business, and we built those relationships. And now we're raising a proper seed round, which isn't necessarily a seed round for product market fit. It's much more about, throwing gas into the fire. Since we've had tremendous growth this year. In the second quarter, we grew about 100% year over year. And in the third quarter, we grew about 200% year over year. And Q4, we just landed the biggest project of our existence. So we're probably going to overshoot every projection that we've had. And we just need to get more bodies working.
So what is your roadmap for the next couple of years?
So we're raising the round now. The idea is to build an operations and sales team. That'll get us about 18 months of runway and to about 3.3 million in revenue. Once, we hit that in 2022, I think that's, 2022, we have an option of, becoming a profitable company and just growing out of our own cash flows, or raising a massive A round and getting to that 100 million, 200 million, 300 million of revenues that we know are very easily achievable in the sector, since there's no major player that's consolidated and there's one common denominator that all of these projects in real estate have, and that's walls. That's probably the path that we're going to take. There's a lot more tech that we want to build. There's a lot more that we want to do in the augmented reality and VR space as well, and on the content side.
And today you just sent us a release relating to a partnership with HGO. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so it's actually a fantastic partnership. It's our first partnership with a tenant experience app. We've had this premise for a long time that they would be fantastic partners, since they're connecting straight to the residents, and residents, when they're moving in, be it tenants in office spaces or residential spaces, they need to fill walls. So it's a fantastic little discount that we've thrown in for their tenants. And we're eager to see it roll out.
So Manuela, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I wish you the best of luck on scaling your company, and hopefully you'll close your seed round in the coming months.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Edwin. It was a pleasure to be here.